This is a mic test. Mic test. Check the speaker.
Sweet. I got it turned up. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Check, check. All right, we sound good. Stream sounds good.
Okay. Let's get ready to rumble.
All right. How you guys doing? How you doing?
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Buddies More Crypto. We're doing another live technical analysis show. We are covering just five cryptos today. Not a lot today, but we're thinking this is important analysis to do before the market turns, because that's what it looks like. So the five cryptos that we're going to be touching on today is going to be Ethereum, it's going to be NCT, Link, Dogecoin, and XRP. We'll leave the best one for the end. Okay, guys?
Oh, no.
Anyways, so that's that for the list today that we'll be covering. You got it pulled up?
Of course.
You ready? Okay. All right. Without further ado, guys, we're going to be doing live technical analysis on Ethereum, ETH. I'm going to hand it over to Crypto Papi. Let's see.
All right, so we're going to start with Ethereum paired with the US dollar weekly time frame. Data's coming in from Coinbase. And I've been telling JJ I've wanted to go over Ethereum for about a week or so now, just because we've got some movement in the market. Bitcoin started to move. Ethereum is following. So we just wanted to come in here and take a look to see if we could get some confirmation for altcoin season. So for alts to start moving to the top. So just overall, we're zoomed out. Again, we're on the weekly time frame. We're looking at a lot of data coming in here on the Coinbase chart. You could see here where we have our swing low of our Fibonacci. Looks like we drew it here on March 31st, 2025. Then we have the swing high up here. Looks like not too much longer after that. Looks like August 25th, 2025, and we just have it extended out to the right. So you could see here we've bounced around. We've sat on a little bit of support before coming back down to the downside, coming up to the 786 as resistance, coming back down to the 618, some slight support before melting through. We came down here to our red box of support/resistance, which at the time it would have been support. Now it's currently acting as resistance on the way back up. So we're looking to flip back around that, get back up above, fully above the 236, back fully above our red box of currently resistance before continuing our movement back up to the upside. And it looks like the low that we've just put in over the past month and a half, 2 months or so, it has been a higher low. So that's amazing. So we have our low, we have a high that's higher than our previous couple highs right here of this this is probably about almost a year time frame of these three highs here from early 2024 to about early 2025. So about a year's time, we finally broke above those. Then we came back down, rejected all the way back down, but we didn't get lower than our previous low. So we have a higher high and we have a lower high as well. So now you want to see us start to move up to the upside and create a newer, higher high. So I mean, really, what needs to happen for that to occur? We have Bitcoin moving. Bitcoin's been doing decent. It's at about 74,000 currently. So we really want Ethereum to start outperforming Bitcoin. And I know this is super early, but let's just get the measuring tool real quick. From current price up to our top of the red box of resistance is only 12% away, which is extremely manageable. From current price to the 618 is 58%. So, that's quite a ways away, but nothing Ethereum can't handle. Then from current price to our 786 is about 86%, 85% to the upside. To get to our previous high has 119% movement to the upside. And then for our one movement of the 618, that's 217% movement to the upside. So what we would want to see is Ethereum starting to put in some of these bigger movements. You know what I mean? Start to get up to about the 25, 30, 35, 40, and hopefully get up to that 200% movement to the upside, while Bitcoin either just moves sideways, consolidates for a little bit, or Bitcoin could also move up to the upside. But we want those Ethereum percentage gains to well outperform the Bitcoin percentage gains. So I just wanted to go over those percentages real quick. Something I do want to do, since we're going to spend a little bit of time on the Ethereum pair, I want to get a new trend line out, because look at this right here at the bottom here, June 13th, 2022. And look at this bottom here from where we drew our Fibonacci, right? It's right there, April 7th, 2025. We just have it extended out to the right. Let's lock that into place. So it looks like, if we're worst case scenario and we do drop down to the downside before really starting to put a move up to the upside, looks like we could possibly find some support on this trend line. It looks pretty reliable to me. It's going to be a long-term trend line again from back in mid-2022, second touch point early 2025, and extended out to the right. So that definitely could be a trend line that guides us to the upside. But we can't forget about our trend line from way back yonder, from January 17th, 2022, first touch point, second touch point, February 21st, 2022, and we have that extended out to the right. Just like some of the other pairings, why do we have that trend line drawn there? Price could never get up there, price could never get there, blah, blah, blah. And with Zcash and other tokens like that, we see that is, we could definitely get to these levels and blast above these, and then in the future, we could come down and retest the trend line as support from all these years ago. So just really wanted to take some time and go over Ethereum a little bit. Those are our two trend lines. The white trend line we've had drawn for quite some time. Purple trend line you saw is just plot. We have our overall Fibonacci. And again, when we start moving, we're looking for the 618, which is about $3,583.50. We're looking for a next movement of the 786 before breaking and starting to create some new all-time highs with Ethereum. And that, once we start moving to the upside, expect some altcoins to go along with Ethereum, but definitely for a true altcoin season, we would want to see Ethereum put in this movement to at least a new decent all-time high, say our one movement of the 618, $7,155.04 or above, possibly up to the trend line in the low $8,000 range. We need Ethereum to come up to these levels, pull back a little bit, say maybe come test our previous all-time high as support, and just move sideways on there. Then that's really when these alts that we're about to look at, and some of your favorite alts, our favorite alts, we should get a new proper alt season. So that's all that I have for Ethereum. I've been wanting to go over this for a little while now, and we have exciting times ahead. This looks like a beautiful setup, if you ask me. We have that big, nice parabolic movement, get a lot of excitement. Possibly, people had some sell orders up here because it's our previous high before crashing all the way back down, liquidating those longs. And now let's go up here and start liquidating these shorts and really propel us to the upside. So that's it for Ethereum. Let me save this and pass it over to JJ.
All right, guys, that was that for Ethereum. All right, guys, that was that for Ethereum. It's looking really good. The trend line is going up. That's what we want to see. And like Crypto Papi says, for us to actually get some gains into our altcoins, Ethereum has to go nuts, just like basically parabolic like Bitcoin has been, for them to all that start moving down to the altcoins. So exciting times, a lot of things going on behind the scenes for crypto. And, let's hope everything's for the best. Okay, so for the next one, let's see, what was the next one? All right. So for the next coin that we're going to be doing a technical analysis on is going to be NCT, Polyswarm. You ready?
All right. Yep.
Perfect. All right, guys, we're going to be doing live technical analysis on NCT, Polyswarm. I'm going to hand it over to Crypto Papi.
All right, so we're doing Polyswarm paired with the US dollar, weekly time frame. Data's coming in from Coinbase. And here we're just nice and zoomed out, looking at all the data, the entire chart. Since Polyswarm has been on Coinbase, which it looks like it's been on there for quite a few years now. Looks like January 10th, 2022. So yeah, it's what's that, over 4 years, right? What's that, January or June, I said? Yeah, so a little over 4 years. Congratulations, Polyswarm. And here's to 4 more years. But see, we're just nice and zoomed out. You could see here we have a trend line drawn here from May 9th, 2022. And we have a couple touch points right here, June 13th, and possibly right next to it, June 20th, 2022. And we have that extended out to the right. We have a wick here that didn't quite touch the trend line, but it came awfully close, October 3rd, 2022. Then we stayed under it. We made some reaches for it, didn't quite get there, consolidated, went sideways, started to gain some momentum to the upside, coming back down slightly before going beautifully parabolic and hitting that trend line, getting rejected from the trend line. You could see here that green one came up and hit the trend line, rejected, came all the way back down here. The following week pushed right back up and even higher before crashing back down. Made a nice cup formation here, down here at the bottom. Beautiful. Came up, got a lot of momentum, and we just slingshot all the way up to just about 11 cents before getting sold all the way back down, coming all the way down, bouncing around the Fibonacci ever so slightly, wicks touching the top, candle body sitting on the bottom, little no man's land before coming back down to the 236. And we came all the way back down, and oh my gosh, we're below the zero movement. So we're going to have to adjust our Fibonacci real quick. Let me just do that real quick. Let's unlock it and let's drag it down. All right, looks like our swing low for the Fibonacci is going to pretty much be the current week that we're in right now. But we did just have a beautiful movement. I was with JJ yesterday when we saw this movement come in. It's a thing of beauty. I fully expected and thought that it would continue to the upside the way that Polyswarm moves. You could see when it moves, it goes. The momentum continues to whichever direction that it's going. And this is currently trending in the upward momentum, has upward momentum on its side. So I fully expect Polyswarm, it takes very little fiat to move Polyswarm. So I fully expect us to be back at the 236 relatively soon. And we could get that measuring tool out here, roughly from current price up to the 236 for Polyswarm. Oh my goodness. Is 132% movement to the upside. I didn't know it was that much. It does not look like that much on the chart. From current price up to the 618 Fibonacci level, 382% movement to the upside. From current price up to the 786, 501% movement to the upside. To our one movement, which was our previous high, but we didn't draw it from the swing high on this specific Fibonacci, is 650% movement to the upside. And let's see, the one movement of the 618 and the trend line overhead would be about 1,100% movement to the upside. What a thing of beauty. So a ton of upside potential with NCT, very minimal downside potential with NCT, not financial advice when it comes to the Coinbase chart. You would have to go back prior to January 2022 to get more data to see where you could catch the falling knife if you potentially wanted a better entry on NCT. But to me, it seems like a decent play, decent place to enter when you have 1,100% movements to the upside on the table. And it is a liquid coin. I mean, speaking from a little bit of experience here, it is very easy to get in and out of this token when you have sell limits and or buy limits to the downside. Just sitting and chilling there. Let those do the work for you. Put the effort here to find entry points and exit points and stick to your plan. You know, keep a nice tight stop loss if you have to. Smart move to do that. But then once you're in, have your stop loss in place. Then once you start to move up to the upside, get your sell limits in place. Just set them and forget them. It's almost that easy, one would say. Don't overly complicate things. But NCT looks great. If we get Ethereum starting to move to the upside, NCT could definitely be one of those ones that pop up and front run with Ethereum. They're not going to wait for Ethereum to make its move, then come down and consolidate before alt season. Polyswarm is definitely pump happy. Again, not financial advice. It looks great. We have a nice, sideways movement, went parabolic, came back down, made that nice cup and handle formation. We came all the way up here, crashing all the way back down. We're still below the trend line, but you see we wick above it. We wick above it. Even if we have time that goes by here, from this wick here to the wick up here, that was 43 bars, so 301 days. So we stayed below it for, a little couple months shy of a year. And we've currently, I don't even need to measure it, we've been below it for over a year. So, sooner rather than later, we're going to catch back up to this trend line, even if it's just a couple of wicks above it, right? Couple of wicks above it, couple candle bodies, closing above it, but not staying above it for very long, wicking, a huge percentage above the actual wick before actually closing and then starting to consolidate far below the trend line itself. But things look good for NCT. Again, we're waiting for that altcoin season. Let's get it going. That's all I have for NCT.
So that was that for NCT. It's looking good. That coin moves when it's just a bit of money starts flowing into it. It makes big moves. As you saw, the chart could retrace back to where it was back in how far ago did it pump?
Which time? Which one? The most recent?
The biggest one. How long ago was
biggest. You sound like Rick Ross. January 6, 2025. So
okay.
Just a little over a year ago.
It's just a matter of time before it does it again. So keep your eyes on NCT. We definitely will be doing that. But anyways, the next one on our list is going to be Chainlink.
All right.
I'm going to have Crypto Papi pull it up.
Let me find it. Perfect.
Well, all right, guys. We're going to be doing some live technical analysis on Chainlink. I'm going to hand it over to Crypto Papi.
All right. We have Chainlink paired with the US dollar. Weekly time frame data is coming in from Coinbase. So you could see here, weekly time frame. We're just zoomed out, just looking at the chart, seeing what it's saying to us a little bit. Let me move it over just ever so slightly here. You could see we have our big overall Fibonacci here in white. We have our one movement, which is our swing high here. Looks like it is drawn on May 3rd, 2021. And our swing low, it looks like it's roughly right in here. Let's say it's June 12th, 2023, and we just have it extended out to the right. So Chainlink has moved absolutely beautifully. If you're in altcoins, you're not in Bitcoin or Ethereum, some of the big main players. It looks like we've had just the right amount of volatility in this token over the past few years. Definitely something you could continue to dollar cost average in. This was not financial advice, but this looked like a great time raider, just choppy sideways movement, not very big movements for quite some time. Looks like from May 2022 through about October 2023. So, oh my gosh, you had almost a year and a half, not quite a year and a half of just sideways chop. Great time for, just buy it and forget it. Set your sell limits and just forget about it. Let the market come to you. But some good sideways movement. We were able to put on our zero movement. The token got a little spunk, a little pep in its step, came up to the 236, faced a little bit of resistance over the top before finally blasting through it. It just kept knocking and knocking on the resistance, making that resistance weaker and weaker before finally blowing through it. But it couldn't maintain that momentum. We came back below it, got right above it just ever so slightly before coming back down. We found some support in no man's land, really, just right in the middle of the Fibonacci's. But if you look at the crosshairs of the cursor, you could see we found support on top of all this chop right here. Before getting a nice movement, we created a lower high, right? We have these previous lows. We have the low that came in here before we're starting to create a nice high. And if you look at the previous high, we created a higher high from our previous high. So we have a lower low, we have a higher high. Then you fully expect, okay, we started to come back down to the downside. Yet again, now it's our third one. We have a low, higher low, higher low. I would have fully expected us to go to that 618 to our red box of resistance up here to create a higher high. But nope, the market had different ideas. We did not create that higher high. We came to this tiny red box of resistance, which is just a fill for the candles over here. Couldn't quite beat that resistance before getting slapped down to the downside. Couldn't find any real support on the 236 before coming down here. And it looks like the last time we did technical analysis was probably December of 2025 on Chainlink, because you could see here we had the wedge pattern drawn with the trend lines, but we had our trend line to the downside. A couple touch points. Looks like we have one August 5th, 2024. Second one looks like it's right here, April 14th, 2025. Looks like a third touch point here, June 16th, 2025. And then multiple touch points, just testing it as support, trying to hang on for support before breaking back down below it. And it looks like we're getting close to testing our zero movement. But again, a thing of beauty is, if you're not in Chainlink, have some. And if you're looking to get into Chainlink, again, not financial advice, but definitely look over to the zero movement. That would be a great area, $4.89 as a first ladder buy. Then look over here to the left. Let's look at some levels here, right? We have two little tops right here. Two little tops, $3.04 would be another great entrance. Let's go to the worst case scenario. Look at these bottoms here, right? One bottom, two bottom, and three bottoms right here at about $1.57. So again, worst case scenarios, those would be some great ladder buys. Not financial advice, but to say Chainlink is going to get close to $1 again, I don't think so. Especially not with it being at $9.10 and having the following that it does have. So if we're going to look for Chainlink to start to move up here to the upside, we have a couple levels to overcome first. We have our trend line that was acting as support and guiding us to the upside here. We have our 236 fib level. Now let's adjust the chart again. Then we also have our overhead trend line that's going to act as resistance because that's all it's done. Then stack on top of that, we could potentially get put right back in this wedge pattern. And what could happen? Same thing could happen. We could come get back in the wedge pattern, then dump out of it. So, Chainlink is definitely dependent on what Ethereum is going to do. And I mean, some would say even Bitcoin too, because everything follows Bitcoin. But for altcoin season specifically, Chainlink is definitely going to be tied to Ethereum. So roughly from current price up to our first trend line that was support and now is going to act as resistance is about 48% movement to the upside. Next point of resistance would be the Fibonacci level of the 236, which is 81% movement to the upside. Then if and when we do break that, next area we could expect some resistance for Chainlink would be 168% movement to the upside, which would be our overhead trend line that's been resistance since it was created here, late 2024. Then, I guess we could measure it. So from current price, the next area would definitely be our red box up here, which is lined up pretty well with our 618 Fibonacci level, which is 285% movement to the upside. So very minimal downside with Chainlink. Definitely getting ready, hopefully and potentially for a good proper alt season for Ethereum to start going parabolic and for these altcoins to start catching up. So definitely optimistic and looking forward to seeing what Chainlink can do in the very near future. Passing it back to the man, the myth, the legend.
Chainlink, another very popular coin. If you're in it, good for you. If you're not, think about it.
Not financial.
Not financial advice, but yeah, it's just a setup. While we're, like I said, we're just doing this technical analysis to show you guys maybe where the turning point is happening. We just have to. The next big signal is going to be Ethereum breaking its all-time high again and going higher. So we'll see. All right, that was that for Chainlink. The next one is going to be one of the people's favorites too, Dogecoin.
You got to turn down your phone.
Oh,
there you go.
it's a little up. Trying to check the voice. But yeah, we're going to be doing Dogecoin.
All right.
Okay, guys, we're going to be doing live technical analysis on Dogecoin or the Dogecoin, whatever coin you want to call it. All right, let me hand it over to Crypto Papi.
All right, so we're going to do Dogecoin paired with the US dollar. Weekly time frame data is coming in from Coinbase. So you could see here, just like we started on the previous token, is we have our big overall Fibonacci here in white from our swing high to our swing low. Looks like, oh, okay, so here. There we go. Beautiful. So we have our swing high to our swing low, just somewhere where I plotted it in the past where it seems to line up very well. Our one movement here, you could see here that I have it drawn on August 16th, 2021. And our swing low, it looks like it's here, right here. We haven't had to redraw this one. June 13th, 2022. So just like Chainlink, Dogecoin has held up very strong, very well in the market conditions. You know, we, just like I said, we haven't had to redraw the overall Fibonacci from, what was that, 2021, I said? Yeah, 2022, mid 2022. So that's impressive. But again, you know, we moved sideways, chopped around, but the overall trend was to the downside before we started to move up to the upside, approached that 618 fib level, didn't quite make it, rejected back down, found some support back on the 236, tried to bounce off of that, but we couldn't make it, crashed back below, came back above, came back below before absolutely going crazy parabolic in late 2024 up into early 2025, beautiful movements before rejecting all the way back down here. But we did find some great support between the 618 and the 236 fib level. And look at that. That overall, it looks like it wants to continue to the upside, right? If we have our draw a couple trend lines here, first touch point, second touch point, get another one out here, first touch point, second touch point. It looks like it wants to just continue in that channel. That would be a beautiful channel for it to bounce around and just for all eternity until humans are living on Mars. They could just bounce in that channel, right? Or take us to Mars right there. That trajectory would be beautiful. So it looked like we were going to stay here for quite some time. That's a great formation. Looks like it wants to keep, you know, printing higher highs, higher lows, and continue all the way up to the upside to infinity and beyond. But that didn't quite happen. We crashed below it, started to come and make a new lower low, and it looks like we're back on that trajectory to the lower lows. And then as of the past couple months, we finally found some support and have been going sideways again in no man's land between the zero movement and the 236. So anything's fair game. We could come back and fall back to the zero movement, start creating some all-time lows on the Coinbase chart. But again, if you're really a fan of Doge, you're really invested into Doge, definitely find a data provider that goes back further than Coinbase does. But so from current price to the downside, how much downside potential is on the table? So risk to reward. So downside to the zero movement of the Fibonacci, about 47% movement to the downside. From current price up to the 236 is about 30% movement. From current price to the 236, 30% movement to the upside. From current price to the 618 is 155% movement to the upside. So risk to reward ratio, about 40% movement to the downside versus 155% reward to the upside. I would still look for entries a little bit lower, not quite to the zero movement, but I would definitely take a look over here, probably at the bottom of these candle bodies where they're sitting at 7 cents. You could definitely, let's see, maybe even look here, tighten it up a little bit. The high 5 cents, ladder in some buys to really potentially go for that big movement. And really, if you waited till it came all the way back down here, if it even would come back down to these levels, you would probably be looking at about a 215% movement to the upside if you caught that swing. So Dogecoin, it's been holding up strong. It's a lot of money flows through Dogecoin. Dogecoin has a very loyal following, a very large following, and this definitely could get some momentum, have some money flowing with it. The fanboys pump it up. A tweet from Elon Musk, and this is over $1. Who knows? Anything is possible, especially with Dogecoin and the following that they have. So that's it for Dogecoin.
All right, guys, that was that for Dogecoin. Definitely an impressive coin because it was created just to be a joke, and this joke has, amassed a lot of money now.
True.
And it's still going strong, which is insane to me. But hey, a lot of crazy things that happen in crypto, so not surprised.
True.
Okay, so the last one, but not least, is going to be XRP by Ripple. You have it up?
Of course.
Perfect. All right, guys, we're going to be doing the last live technical analysis video on XRP. I'm going to hand it over to Crypto Papi.
All right, last but not least, we have XRP paired with the US dollar, weekly time frame. Data's coming in from Bitfinex. So we're just zoomed out looking at the data. But again, unlike some of the other coins we've looked at, XRP made a enormous parabolic movement late 2024, blasted it off to past the moon, to be honest with you. A huge movement up to the upside. We chopped around there, had some huge price swings in the meantime before coming and making another all-time high, beating our previous all-time high before rejecting back down. But we found support awfully fast. You could see our Fibonacci. Looks like our swing low was drawn April 14th, 2025. Our swing high was drawn July 21st, 2025. And this is where we're currently at. Looks like we do need to redraw, though, the Fibonacci because our zero movement now, I should have noticed that when I was talking about it, has came down to the downside. See, now I don't know, though, if I want to draw it from here on February 2nd, 2026 swing low, or if I want to drag it down here to the October 6th, 2025 swing low. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, look at that real quick for a second. Take a look at that. Now take a look at that. Boom. Okay, so I like this one, and let me tell you why. So I like it drawn from swing low being the February 2nd, because I like the 618, how it lines up right there, how you have that wick to the top, and then this 786, you have that wick right there to the top, that green one right there, just testing it before getting rejected back down. So let's lock that into place. So we have our new freshly drawn Fibonacci to see what XRP could potentially do. Adjust the chart so we could look at most relevant price action. So you could see here, after our Fibonacci, we do have a trend line drawn that was acting as support, guiding us to the upside for a little while with XRP. But, the trajectory of where we came from and where we were going just was unrealistic to maintain that trajectory, even with XRP and all the money that flows into it. We came, retested, tried to sit on it as support before blowing through it and coming down to the downside. Found some support on the 236 fib level, couldn't quite hold, came down, made our zero movement, and we're holding again in no man's land slightly right now before we're at a decision point. Are we going to start melting to the downside and have to adjust our chart to see where we could potentially start coming down to these levels here of the 12 cents, 32 cents, 51 cents, previous breakout of 47 cents? Or are we going to find support at our zero movement, right at $1.10 or so, maybe down to like 95 cents before starting to move to the upside? So let's take a look at that risk to reward setup. So from current price, let's see our risk. From current price, to our zero movement, that's about 21% movement to the downside. And in this crypto space, 21% movement can come through at a blink of an eye. So from current price to our support level down here, our red box, is about 32% movement to the downside. So there is huge risk with XRP with where it currently sits because we don't have any confirmations to the upside and or to the downside currently. We're just kind of consolidating, moving sideways. So from current price up to the 236 is about 21% movement to the upside. And just like how you saw with the downside was about 21% as well to the zero movement. So we're in between them. We're right in the middle of both Fibonacci's. From current price action to the 618 is 90% movement to the upside. Goodness, it does not look like that big of a movement on the chart. From current price up to the 786 level is 120% movement to the upside. Current price up to our trend line and the one movement, our previous all-time high, is 161% movement to the upside. So definitely have some risk down here. You definitely could get some better entry points into XRP if you're still dollar cost averaging or looking into getting into this specific token. Not financial advice, but I would definitely look to the left and also probably go from the weekly time frame, which I don't like to do this too regularly, to the daily time frame. Adjust your chart and you could see here, right? Look at these, look at some entry points here to the left, right? You'd have to adjust your chart. Let's zoom in and take a look. So the green dotted line is the current price. You could look here on the daily time frame. Okay, $1.10. Come here down to the downside, and you could really dial these in, right? $0.09539 would be a great spot. The bottom of these two from November 17th and November 18th, 2024. Look at the bottom of those. $1.05, 750. Those would be great entry points to dial it in, right? Dial in your entry, get a better entry, take some risk off the table while gaining nothing but reward. The more risk you take off of the table by getting lower entry points, the more gains you're going to have, the more reward percentage you're going to have in any specific token, in any specific setup. So it's always about de-risking and having the smallest amount of risk when entering a position with the maximum amount of reward. And that's a lot of these tokens. But again, we need Ethereum to start moving to really get things flowing, get things excited. Then we need Ethereum to slow down and chill without crashing down, without Bitcoin crashing, without World War III, without anything crazy happening. And then finally, these altcoins could run. And that's all that I have today.
Man, it's like the longer we've been hitting that button to like, oh, is the altcoin season here? Is the altcoin season here?
Right.
The longer we do it, it's just gonna happen all of a sudden, dude.
True. That is true.
But anyways, guys, that was that for today. We only cover a few tokens. Like I said, Crypto Papi wanted to do a little take a snapshot of the market right now before it starts to turn, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it goes to the new old season. It's a very different season this time around with all the companies and banks getting into crypto. So I think that's why things have been a little different this time around. But anyways, thank you guys for watching today's episode. If you haven't, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're currently at 865 subscribers. We're trying to get to 1,000. It doesn't cost a thing. Please subscribe, leave a comment down below, like this video, share it, and I'm going to have Crypto Papi say bye to you guys.
See ya.
See you guys later. Peace.